We know what is happening in Burkina Faso. Indeed, we should be working closer with our comrades in Burkina Faso. Unfortunately, this government has created some tension between us and Burkina Faso because our president went and opened his mouth too wide. You saw the video. He went and was doing concern about your neighbor. We all are here. We are suffering. America called you small, and you are so excited, and then your neighbor, you are doing concern about him. And so it has created some diplomatic tension. He went and apologized, but still, it's not the best. So when government changes, we have to go and talk to our neighbors because we must work together.
Before we dive into a closer look, make sure to subscribe to the African Web and hit the bell icon for more insights. Now, don't you think it's important to understand the speech and the context behind it? Ghana's newly elected president, John Dramani Mahama, has set the stage for his second term with some bold claims. Delivered just weeks before the elections, his speech criticizes his predecessor and outlines his vision for Ghana's future, especially regarding regional alliances, economic strategy, and the fight against neocolonialism. So what kind of path will Mahama take in his second term? Mahama sharply criticized former President Nana Akufo-Addo for focusing more on Western nations than strengthening regional ties, particularly with Burkina Faso. Did Akufo-Addo neglect the importance of regional collaboration to tackle security threats? Mahama accused him of getting too close to the West, even criticizing Ghana's intelligence sharing agreements with the United States and other Western allies, especially regarding Burkina Faso's partnership with Russia's Weimar Group, which has raised concerns in the West. Could this mean a shift in Ghana's foreign policy? Mahama hinted that his administration might focus more on building stronger ties with the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, which includes Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. This group stands out for its anti-imperialist views and its efforts to reduce reliance on Western powers, challenging the status quo in West Africa. But as Mahama returns to power, is there a sense of hope or concern about his leadership? During his first term, 2012 to 2017, Ghana faced a huge increase in debt, with nearly $6 billion added to the country's debt stock. What about Ghana's key industries like oil, gold, and cocoa exports? They all struggled, and critics argued that Mahama's government lacked fiscal discipline, worsening the country's economic vulnerabilities. The situation only worsened under Akufo-Addo, and in 2022, Ghana defaulted on part of its $30 billion external debt. As Mahama takes office again, can he address this economic crisis? He promised to renegotiate debt with the IMF and secure new loans to stabilize the economy. But does this align with the AES anti-Western stance? The AES criticizes the IMF, seeing it as a tool of neocolonialism. So how will Mahama balance this contradiction? Can he secure IMF assistance while embracing the AES revolutionary agenda? Is it possible for Ghana to maintain ties with the West while also forging closer connections with the AES? This leads us to a bigger question. How can Ghana break free from its economic dependence on external powers? With vast resources like oil, gold, and cocoa, shouldn't Africa, including Ghana, be one of the wealthiest regions in the world? Why is it still facing exploitation and systemic issues like corruption and mismanagement? Now, as Mahama takes the lead, can Ghana navigate these complex challenges? Will Mahama embrace the AES anti-imperialist views, or will he take a more pragmatic approach, balancing both sides? How aggressively will he tackle the exploitation of African nations? And most importantly, can he stabilize Ghana's economy while resisting the pressure to rely on external borrowing? To really understand Mahama's vision, we need to look at a key speech he gave after winning the election. His words may give us a clearer picture of the future path Ghana will take under his renewed leadership.
Ghana has had long-standing relations with all the agencies, and having been president before, I know the kind of work we did together. We need you more than ever before because of the crisis this country is going through. And I've had the opportunity to meet some of you, even during the campaign and before the election. And I've expressed, how I want us to work even closer together to see how we can put Ghana back on its feet. Of course, we all know that Ghana is very important in the geopolitics of West Africa and Africa in terms of upholding democracy. and being a model, of peace and security. And it's something that we want to restore as quickly as possible. And so we look forward to working with you, looking at the existing programs, and we need to tweak them to meet the realities of today to do so. I believe we've had discussions with the World Bank and the IMF already, and we look to an early engagement so that we can continue to be on the same wavelength. Of course, in the campaign, several, promises been made, and we need to look at what the reality is in terms of sitting together and seeing what the way forward is. Of course, one of our main concerns, and I think we've expressed it to you several times, is the issue of the humps in the debt repayments, and it's something we need to see how we can smooth them so that we don't default again. That would be more catastrophic than this current default. Aside from that, we know that in the last family season, the rainfall pattern was very erratic. And so we're anticipating that there's going to be some problem with availability of food. And so how we're able to kick in supports to ameliorate this situation is something that we would like to work on. With all the other agencies, UNICEF, UNHCR, and all that, we are happy to continue to engage and see how we can strengthen and even uplift the cooperation and the work that we do together. I don't kid myself that it's going to be an easy task. It's going to be quite tough. And I anticipated that we're going to win, but I didn't anticipate the margin by which we're going to win. And that is an indication, like I said yesterday, that Ghanaians have a very high expectation. And so managing that expectation and trying to work as quickly as possible to meet those expectations is something that our team has to look at. We run on the campaign of resetting the nation because we've been in this democratic space since 1992. And the time has come when we must look at some of the issues to do with our governance, our economic management and all that, the fight against corruption and all that, and see how we can lift all that to another level so that we continue to maintain the confidence and faith, especially of our youthful population. A lot of them are losing faith in the whole democratic thing because they think it's not working for them. It's not creating opportunities for them. So those are all things that we need to look at. We're happy we have our first female vice president. She not only opened the door, but she's going to keep the door open so that others can follow in her footsteps. Happily, this last parliament has passed the affirmative action law. And so we're going to abide by it. Even in the run-up to the campaign, we made a promise that we're going to reserve 30% of appointments for women.